We are meeting after a while, and I'm really sorry for not uploading videos as frequently as I generally do. However, in this video, we are going to read the last part of Hopkins's Felix Randal. You remember that in the first three videos, we read the first three parts of the poem. And in this video, we are going to read the second tercet, that is the last stanza of the poem. And we are going to know the literary terms that are associated with Hopkins, especially sprung rhythm, inscape, in stress, etc. Now you remember that in Felix Randal, Hopkins is recalling his encounter with a farrier of the Liverpool area, namely Felix Spencer, but in the poem he is called Felix Randal. When Hopkins met Felix, actually, he was suffering from tuberculosis, and he grew quite helpless, impatient at the hand of the chronic disease. But Hopkins offered him comfort, solace, and religious services to alleviate his pain, and he was successful in it. However, eventually Felix died, and Hopkins composed the poem. Okay, I'm reading the last stanza of the poem. How far from then, forethought of all thy more boisterous years, where thou at the random grim forge, powerful amidst peers, did fatal for the great grey dray horse, his bright and battering saddle. How far from then forethought of, when Felix was forging the horseshoes for the horses, he was full of vigor and energy. He was boisterous. He was strong, Herculean. And people who had seen him before, they could hardly imagine that such a man, such a powerful man, could undergo such huge transformation, such deterioration at the hand of a disease. And eventually, when Felix was suffering from tuberculosis, he became sickly, his countenance pallid, helpless, and very much impatient. Probably he lost all his hopes of recovery. So nobody could imagine that such a strong man could undergo such change. This deterioration of Felix, this change of fate, the overall dimension of his life, both physical and spiritual, this actually represents the vicissitudes of man that every man undergoes. For Felix, the deterioration comes quite early, but every man is subject to decay and death. When thou at the random grim forge, Hopkins is a magician of words. He used words to create different effects. Here, the word random is such an example. Random is used in its old sense to mean forceful or violent. Felix was working violently in his grim forge. There is the smithy, there is the smithy of the blacksmith. Powerful amidst peers. Peers obviously referred to Felix's friends who used to surround him when he was working in his smithy. Did fatal for the great grey dray horse, his bright and battering sandal. In the last line of the poem, we find brilliant use of alliteration. And Hopkins used alliteration probably to maintain the musicality, the lyricism of the last line. For example, great grey, the sound go, and then comes the sound bow, bright and battering sandal. Felix used to prepare the horseshoe, the bright and battering sandal for the dray horse. Incidentally, a dray horse is a horse that is used to draw large wagons full of goods. So Felix used to uh, trim the hooves of the dray horses prepare the horseshoes and nail the horseshoes to the hooves of the horses. So that man, that Herculean man, had undergone such a huge deterioration, and this last stanza of the poem manifests Hopkins's surprise. He is quite taken aback by the deterioration of Felix, by the vicissitude of Felix, and the poem itself is a blueprint of the precarious existence of human beings on this earth. I have already told you. This poem can be read as an allegory for human vicissitude on earth. So now it is time to discuss the various literary terms that are associated with Hopkins's poetry. The first term that is very popular and is associated with Hopkins's poetry is sprung rhythm. Now, sprung rhythm, the primary purpose behind using sprung rhythm is to imitate the natural speech. In sprung rhythm, what happens? Generally the first syllable is traced, and that stressed syllable is followed by a variable number of unstressed syllables. It is said that Hopkins did not invent the rhythm, but rather he discovered the rhythm in popular folk poetry. Even Milton and Shakespeare used sprung rhythm, though the coinage sprung rhythm was not there. Hopkins coined the rhythm, sprung rhythm, in order to give an effect of the spoken speech to a rhythm. To understand sprung rhythm better, I am giving you an example from Hopkins's poem itself. You see, in this poem, the wind hover, the use of sprung rhythm. I caught this morning's minion, kingdom of delights to form. Dapple down drawn falcon in his riding of the rolling level underneath him, steady air and striding. High there, how he rung upon the rein of a wimpling wing in his ecstasy, then off, forth on swing. In the very first line of the poem, I caught this morning's minion. You see that in caught, the syllable a, caw, is stressed, and that syllable cau is followed by a number of variable unstressed syllables. For example, the syllable GHT, this, here morning again, more, that syllable is stressed, ning is unstressed. Again in the next word, more is stressed. Then ning, minion, king, dumb, off are unstressed. It gives a kind of rhythmic effect, a kind of springing rhythm that is produced by the help of this kind of stressing pattern, you see. So this is what is called sprung rhythm by Hopkins. Now it is time to deal with Hopkins's most enigmatic ideas called inscape and instress. Now, inscape and instress, the two ideas, are supposed to be derived from the philosophy of the medieval philosopher Duns Scotus. Hopkins believed that everything on this earth is characterized by a uniqueness, an individuality, a self. Everything, be it a very small thing or a big thing, anything, be it an animate thing or inanimate thing, anything and everything is characterized by its own distinctiveness. Hopkins called this distinctiveness the inscape of that very thing. For example, if you pluck off the petals of a flower, you will see that each petal has its own distinctiveness, has its own uniqueness. The color, the shape, the size, everything is different from the other petals of the same flower. This distinctiveness is called inscape by Hopkins. Now, one is not supposed to recognize the distinctiveness in any given circumstances. According to Hopkins, the very realization of the uniqueness, the very realization of the distinctiveness of a thing uh, is the moment of stress. That means the recognition of the uniqueness is in stress. So what is inscape? Inscape is the uniqueness, and in stress is the recognition of this inscape. So we can call that in stress is the recognition of inscape. And according to Hopkins, this in stress of the inscape may eventually lead one to God, to Jesus Christ. Hopkins' idea of the inscape and in stress, his idea is firmly rooted in the Indian philosophy, especially of the Naya school of Shankaracharya and Ramanuja's philosophy. You know that Shankaracharya and Ramanuja both uh, they philosophize on the existence of Brahma, and Rabindranath Tagore later uh, uh, he took the idea from both these distinguished Indian philosophers to believe that everything in this earth is replete with the mark of divinity. Everything, even a stone, even a river, even a mountain, even a small flower, everything bears the stamp of divinity, bears the mark of divinity. Divinity is present in everything. And this divine presence that Spinoza called pantheism, that was popularly used by William Wordsworth in his poems. This immanent existence, this all-encompassing existence of the divinity is at the core of Hopkins's theory of inscape and instress. Uh, so this is all about today's video. Let us meet in the next video. In the next video, we are going to read a very important poem by John Donne called The Good Morrow. Stay tuned. Thank you very much.